What's the Mark Cuban interview? Why does Mark Cuban think streaming is a waste of time? Oh, great. Okay, see, don't let his hair fool you. Mark Cuban's basically a boomer. This dude's like 60 years old, okay? Which one is it? Yeah, which one is it? How I Became a Billionaire. Yeah, I probably should look into that and see what it is. Which one is it? Mark Cuban Esports. Is this it here? Mark Cuban thinks owning an esports team in the US is an awful business. Okay, this doesn't have a lot of downvotes, so it's probably not it. It's the second one. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports talk. Today we talk about an interview with the one, the only, that being Mark Cuban. If you guys do not know, a widely regarded investor around the entire world, also the NBA owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and worth a lot of money. He's also invested in
got a lot of money.
Things out there we will touch on in a bit. But in this interview as well, breaking last night, he talks about that owning an esports team, investing into an esports organization as an awful investment. Obviously sparking many responses out there from a few owners we'll talk about, as well as many of you guys out there, as to why this guy who's invested into esports is now calling owning an esports team a very bad investment. Here is the interview, and then we'll talk about a lot of things.
Let's see what he says.
I heard that you said that you would not buy a League of Legends team last year because of player overload.
Yeah.
Do you still think that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's done.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the meta is, right? And so they change everything all the time, whether it's Overwatch, whether it's League of Legends, Fortnite for that matter. It's not really an esport, but still, you know, when it's a 5 person team and the meta changes every 90, 120 days, it's like a whole new game. And so you have to, you know, it's so competitive and it's so mentally and physically straining that it's brutal. So that's part one. Part two is the economics. I think a lot of people who bought into teams, not the esports themselves, had no idea how bad a business it was. No idea.
Sure.
In aggregate, it's a good business. Is it growing? Yes. But domestically here in the United States, it's an awful business. And
owning a team.
Owning a team is an awful business. And so I think you're seeing a lot of consolidation as people get out and try to sell. You see a lot of people trying to raise more money. You see the valuations coming down, you know, and I think a lot of people who bought in didn't recognize the difference between a stream and viewer in Europe, in Asia, versus a stream and a viewer here. I mean, you read Esports Observer and you see...
That's a good point, because they have less fucking money in other places in the world, but they still count as a viewer. So if you're going to put your ad in front of some guy that lives in Serbia that can barely afford snow, it's going to be a pretty hard time to get him to buy anything that's actually, like, expensive. You know what I mean?
All the Twitch numbers and everything, and you see the aggregate hours. And what was it? Even with Overwatch League, 300-some thousand maximum global viewers. I forget the exact number. You know, that's not a huge number.
Thank you, Mark. And you know what Mark probably doesn't even fucking know? Is that half of those viewers are embedding. Nobody's watching this shit. Yeah, it's the thing is, like, they're not bots. They're embedding. So here's what you guys want to know. Here's a little trick of the trade. All right. So imagine you've got a website, and on your website you've got a you've got an ad, and so you put your ad right there on the website. Well, there's a lot of people that they have ad block, and so in place of ad block, they have embedded streams in place of the ad, and they sell places for the embedded streams. So that's like the Twitch homepage, which is a little bit different, but it's kind of the same thing. I believe MMO Champion does this. A lot of these people do this. So whenever you see people that are view botting, it's actually not always view botting. They're just getting their stream embedded because they have a good relationship with somebody on a website. Then that website gets traffic, and then those people are embedded onto their stream, and those people count as a viewer. Now, Twitch is not going to get rid of this, because I believe Twitch probably sells this to some extent, right? So, like, I mean, you would, like, everybody knows that Twitch would obviously have a deal with Overwatch League to embed their streams and put their streams on as many of their platforms as possible. So it wouldn't make sense for Twitch to get rid of it, because Twitch uses it to their own advantage. And that's the big problem with, like, you look at these esports things, a lot of the numbers they have are embedding. they're not actually even real viewers. That's why you can go into a stream of like one of these games, one of these esports things, and a lot of the people, like, nobody's talking in chat. People aren't saying anything. Nothing's happening. You know. That's why.
So where's the money at? You're an expert in this.
There's not, I mean, being in Asia, there's money, right? If you're in Korea, there's tons of money there. It's real. If you're in China, there's money there. Here, not so much. Not so much. I mean, look at what the streamers go through. I mean, Ninja kills it, right?
Yeah, they make a lot of money.
Yeah, he makes a ton of money, but he went to Mixer because to make that money, you got to stream 10 hours a day and not have a life.
And let's be honest about this, guys. Right off the bat,
Is that not true? I mean, really, is that not true? I mean, people might get triggered over Mark, but I mean, like, Mark's talking real shit here. Yeah, Mark's talking real shit. Like, what's wrong with that?
makes a lot of good points. The first and foremost is that Fortnite is not an esport. I tried to fight this for a long time. For a lot of you guys who are Fortnite fans, I did try and argue for it being an esport for quite some time until Epic Games came forward and said, hey, by the way, we're going to keep on making routine updates and patch updates and changes even before big tournaments. And so for that, I have to say it's not really an esport. Yes, they have...
I think that's just, like, instead of saying it's not an esport, just say that you're not happy with the way they developed the game. Because $100 million tournaments say otherwise. Like, it's a Blizzard does this too. Like, it's clearly an esport, but you're just not happy with the way they developed the game, which is fine. I get that. Like, WoW does that too. It's fucking stupid, but it doesn't make it not an esport. It's still an esport, even if you don't like it. The difference, in my opinion, right, with like people saying like, oh, 10-hour workday is normal. No, for one, it's not. An 8-hour workday is normal. And the other difference is the fact that, like, usually whenever you go to work, and like what Mark Cuban said, like he said, work 10 hours a day and you don't have a life. The thing with working, and what makes working in like an office or something like that different, is the fact that you're working and you're going around and you're interacting with other people, right? A lot of your friends you probably make at work. A lot of your friends and, you know, people that you interact with regularly, you make at work. So it's like, I know for me personally, whenever I was working at the IRS, I had a lot of people and I would interact with them and I would talk to them. So streaming in a way is like, it's a very isolating activity in a way that going to like an office or something like that is not. You know, I think that's the difference, right? You don't know work? Well, what do you mean? I worked for 2 years at the IRS. I mean, I don't know what you mean. Like, we would work 12 hours a day, like during the tax season. Like, you would wake up at 7 in the morning and you would call in to see if they had overtime. And you would go at 7 in the morning and you would not leave until like almost midnight. Like it would go on for like only 2 weeks, so it wasn't like really intense for a while. But I mean, I've worked before, but obviously I haven't gone and, you know, like been a construction worker. Thank God. I would never want to do that. But the point's still the same, right? Is you're interacting with other people. Streaming is much more isolating than like a normal job.
Tournaments, yes, they have prize pools, yes, they have pro players, but in terms of an actual esport, I kind of got to agree with Mark here, guys. It's not really seen by as one by many people out there. Even further, though, he touches on what we talked about literally yesterday and also last week as well, the development of the Asian esports scene. That's India, that's Asia, that's Korea, also China being involved. Yeah. Those are three big places. Asia, he also kind of solely targeted Korea alongside China, the giant region, as probably the markets that esports would be the best business for. He says that viewership-wise, the money here in America is not there compared to even the likes of Europe and especially that of Asia, which we talked about as we see ever-expanding organizations out there. FaZe giving it their try, Fnatic giving their try in India as well. Optic had their try of the Asian market because that is where the player base, the viewer base, the numbers there, even money-wise, are certainly there, and even Mark Cuban is seeing that. So those are two great points he did make. But he also did talk about, of course, when it comes to investing into an esports team, the return just isn't there, which I find a bit odd because I do want to clarify when it comes to being financially savvy. Obviously, Mark Cuban has done a lot of things right, but when he actually calls investing into an esports team, I think he's referring to owning an esports organization as an awful business. It's a bit weird because when you look at his esports investments, they aren't from an outside perspective. Now, I have not seen his books. let me preface that he's a very smart guy. I'm sure he only does, things that he thinks are going to make him money. One of his
Probably,
first
yeah.
investments in
I would
esports
expect that.
seemingly made sense a little bit because he owns the Dallas Mavericks from the NBA. He actually invested into and now owns
Yeah, I would
Mavs
expect that.
Gaming Esports, which, by the way, partake in the 2K League for NBA. So as an outside and kind of an esports guy, as many of you guys are as well, you don't really see a
So when Cuban tweets this, it's very easy to give Dr. Lupo 500 likes.
Okay, what did he say?
When Cuban tweets this,
Look at the number of hours streamed per day versus number of hours in a day and ask if you would want that job. Okay.
it's very easy to give Dr. Lupo 500 likes and give Mark Cuban 100 likes, but Mark Cuban's right.
Okay. I'm not going to watch the whole video.
Cuban talks about streaming life. Oh yeah, I saw this earlier in the week, but I lost it a day. Ask if you would want that job.
What are the tweets?
I'm
Can
not
we just
saying
look at the
people shouldn't
tweets?
stream if you're good and you can make a living by all means doing it. My point was having the biggest audience is always the best individual choice. When someone throws a boatload of money at you, yes, it can be the right answer.
Well, yeah, no shit. Well, yeah, duh. I mean, fucking duh. Yeah, it's the same fucking thing, man. Like, yeah, of course you're gonna try to make as much fucking
this
money.
Is so interesting. I wish I had covered this earlier in the week, because what Cuban is talking about here, Cuban is talking about a very simple ROI equation, right? Which he can do because he's a billionaire, so he thinks about everything in this way. If I spend 1 hour doing something, what is my time worth? And once you start earning a lot of money, or you have a lot of like choice.
Okay, I'm not gonna watch the whole video, right? I just wanted to see what Mark Cuban said. I didn't need to see 100 different, 100 different things about this, right? It's called logic. Well, here's the thing, guys. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna minimize this, and I'll put the music back on, and we'll talk about that, okay? Didn't you like this way of life? I think that, like, everything. Here's the thing, right? Is people get tired of everything, right? I mean, Sacris with a 10 gift community subs. Thank you very much, Sacris. Thank you very much, man. Thank you, Sacris. People get tired of everything. Well, I can guarantee you, if people would wake up every day and get their dick sucked, there would be a lot of people that would get tired of that after a while, right? Maybe not after, like, a month or so, maybe not after a few months, but after a while, they get tired of that. And I understand this is something a lot of, like, there are a lot of kids that watch streams, right? So they can't really understand this kind of stuff. I think the older people in the chat would probably get what I'm saying, right? It's like excess. Here's the thing, right? Like, being unemployed is great for a while. Like, taking a vacation is good. But when every single day is a vacation, you stop feeling good about being a vacation. If that makes sense. So it's like, after a while, like, if I take a week off and it feels fucking great, that's good. But am I going to feel better the 40th week into that week off time period? Like, I take 40 weeks off in a row. Am I going to feel good on week 38 in the same way that I felt good on week 1? No, I'm going to get tired of it. People just get tired of shit. They like having change. They like having things, change in general, right? Now, streaming, I think streaming is like kind of an interesting thing, right? It's very kind of, what's going on here? Why is everybody running away? Are there a horde? Are there problem boys over here causing us trouble? There's not problem boys causing us trouble, are there? No, okay, that's good. Let me get the fuck away from those mobs. They do a lot of damage. Okay, get away from them. All right, people are afraid of changes, if more anything. Well, I don't know. I think people are afraid of change, but also people get tired of what they're doing all the time, right? You can have the greatest job ever, and like, you can think about the prettiest girl in the world. There's a dude out there that would be completely sick of her shit. Think about that. Like, there's always, people get tired of every good thing. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. They get tired of every good fucking thing. And I better not be fucking banned. I better not be, I'm gonna be mad if I'm banned, dude. I swear to God, Blizzard, do not ban me. Blizzard, come on, man. Let's go. I gotta try this out. You get on here again. Log in the game server. All right, yeah, we're fine. Okay, good. Because of what you said. Yeah, exactly. I got too tired of playing Classic WoW, so they DC'd me. So yeah, I mean, the thing with, like, streaming, right, is it is an isolating job. Like, there are jobs in like the, like a traditional job sense that, are isolating as well. But streaming especially is isolating. So I think that, like, for a lot of people that does bother them a lot. And it's like for some people it's like an ideal job, for some people it's not. And I think that it just really depends on who it is. And people that say like streaming is hard or things are not hard, like for some people streaming is going to be very hard for them. For other people it won't be. I think for a lot of people, if you're going to be good at your job, it's not going to seem hard to you. And if that's something that, like, if you're a great, if you're a great accountant, it's not going to seem like the job is difficult to you. If you're a great basketball player, it's not going to seem like the job is difficult to you, to like an average person. Now, obviously, someone who knows what's going on knows that it's hard, but people that enjoy their jobs and really should have that job, I think can show that they enjoy that. And also on top of that, the difficulty of it doesn't really show. Have you seen the video? Asmongold loses DPS on his over good block. No, I didn't see that. Streaming is much less difficult with 10 plus viewers. Big difference. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it really depends, right? Like streaming is as hard as you make it to be, right? I mean, there are some people that turn on their stream and they put no effort into it and they get nothing out of it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they put no effort into the stream and their stream sucks. And other people that stream every single day, like over 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and those people usually get more out of it. Obviously, that's not always the case, but one thing you can say is that like a lot of the people that do put in a lot of time and investment into streaming, usually they see the biggest payoff.